Hello everyone and welcome to a new format. Today I'm going to try narrating for the first time. The idea here is I'm going to explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it and discuss some tangentially related concepts, so hopefully you get more out of watching. In the video I'm going to reference concepts we've already discussed in the Today I Learned series. If you need those videos, the links are in the very back. I'm also going to reference some new concepts I haven't put in a TIL video yet. It's coming, it's on Melee Combat, I'm pretty excited about it. I don't feel completely prepared to put it out there yet. I'm still doing some more thinking on it, so I appreciate any feedback on the topic and any topic. So let me know if you have any questions. Before we hop in, I thought I'd spend 1 minute answering the question, why solo? I love challenge. Challenge pushes you to learn. It's really fun to be really good at something. And soloing is the ragged edge if possible for Vermintide. There's no question. And as I'm at that ragged edge, my heart rate gets up, I get excited, I get into it, and when I beat it, I get a real sense of accomplishment. It's very enjoyable. That said, I think it's about the journey and not the destination. So enjoy the process, learn from your mistakes, take lots of breaks, and don't let anyone tell you that what you want to do, your weapon combos, what you like to play, how you like to play, is not viable. We have no idea what's viable yet. There's so much space we haven't even explored. So get out there if you're into it. So there are 3 maps I recommend you start with soloing. I call it the Triple Crown. The first is Waterfront, then Ramparts, then Smugglers. Each of them focuses on a different dimension of solo play. First, Waterfront focuses on pathing, movement, and AI manipulation as you quickly get through the events. Ramparts starts moving you into more combat orientation, but I think it's mostly about positioning and decision making in the events and when the Horde spawn. Where do you go and why should you go there? Lastly, Smugglers. Smugglers is basically one long pitched battle at 2 different points. This is going to nail down your combat skills that you need for long events like the end of Horde of Magnus. At the start of Smugglers and in between the first and second event are 2 long, relatively open areas where you just have to push and resupply. To me, the decision making here is how fast can you get away with getting through this while getting full resupply for the events. The longer you take, the more hordes, the more specials, the more chance you have of entering the next event low on supplies or dying before you even reach it. So right now we're overdue for a horde and 1 or 2 specials. As you approach this little area, there's almost always a special or 2 spawn and a horde spawn. As you get it, there's your first major decision. Where do you take the horde? As we discussed in the AI and pathing video, where you take a horde has everything to do with what kind of horde you're going to get. If you take it in a small enclosed area, they're going to naturally get forced together into tremendous density. We are using beam and a light attack oriented sword. Basically, we excel at low to medium density, and we have a lot of problems with tremendous density. So rather than retreat to supply a room or some sort of corner up strategy like a conventional Cata play, we're going to try to meet the horde head on. If we're in large areas, the flankers will try to get around us, which will spread out their front lines, so we can play flank the flankers and continue to fight at medium to low density. On this map, we also have the advantage of the little sewer drop-offs, so if I jump down right here, which I don't think I do, but if I did, all those rats in front of us will decide to hop off too, which slows them down and gives you tons of free hits. This is manipulable. You can do this back and forth. Beam, for the most part, has trouble taking out its specials quickly while under pressure. I made a tactical decision to leave the gas rat alive and bait the shots to kill the horde for me. Beam actually is very good against Packmaster though. It takes 1 right-click beam blast, so right-click into left-click to kill it. So I usually try to get off a quick shot. If you're interested why I don't have any zoom on, I'll leave the link below to Grimm's mod. It's pretty easy to change his mod slightly so he can have a toggle between zoom in normal and no zoom in. Event 1's about to begin. Obviously clear out before you go. Event 1's a clusterfuck. There's anywhere from 0 to 4 specials. There's any number of storm vermin between 1 or 2 and sometimes as many as 6. And it's all in tight quarters with nowhere to go. You have to make the decision between control and mobility. For the most part, that decision's already made for you based on what weapons you brought with you with which traits. We're stuck in mobility. I'll discuss the build in a moment. Let's talk about how to run this event. The first thing you should note is my positioning. I always pick this spot to start across from the fence. The common special spawns are that hole in the top left, that hole in the top right, or through that fence right in front of you, so this gives you the most visibility. As a mobility-oriented build, the first thing we want to do is kill as fast as possible to keep the numbers down, and as things get overwhelming, it's time to start kiting, while using our beam, pushes, and dodge to maintain initiative as much as possible. As I'm cycling, I'm considering whether or not it's time to pull out the bomb or to pull out the pot. If you have to use either, remember that you can dodge as you're pulling them out and dodge as you're throwing them, so you don't have to take a whole bunch of hits. It's also not a terrible time to pull into one of the corners on either side if you're going to use your bomb to group things up. The knockback of the bomb will give you enough initiative to hop right back out. This is one of the many places in the game where an assassin can pounce before you have any audible warning. You have to just use positioning, lines of sight, and random dodging to hope for the best. Once an assassin's leaped, I use my dodging and I use my pushes to control what's behind me while I corner an assassin and beat it to death as quickly as possible. It's common to have a special or two at the end of this event, so don't feel compelled to rush out of this room. After you've taken your breather, you go ahead and proceed through the enter event phase. It's possible to get a horde, or two, or an ogre, or nothing, which is what we happen to get here. Again, proceed with pace, resupply, be as safe as you need to be, but no safer. So as I was saying before, for most setups, the decision between control and mobility is made at the weapon selection screen. What did you bring with you? Something like two-handed hammer is obviously going to focus on controlling the rats in front of you. Something like a falchion is obviously going to focus on mobility and slaying things quickly. So this build here uses a lot of synergies between the range and the melee weapon to bring an efficient and safe option against what I consider the most common and oppressive combo in Vermintide, Storm Vermin plus Clan Rat. Storm Vermin are programmed to run right at you. Clan Rats are programmed to try to surround you. The result is that we have big, giant guys in the middle that we can't sweep through, while we have Clan Rats at either side poking us for lots of damage. We use the beam left click to push away the excess rats and leave an exposed Storm Vermin. We then spam left click, which has Killing Blow and Earthing Normal. The Killing Blow gives us an efficient way, although RNG dependent, to finishing off the Storm Vermin, while the Earthing fuels the whole thing, so you can keep this up for minutes on end, which we will in the finale. I call this setup the Battle Mage. I theory crafted it, and I'm really happy with how well it worked. To finish discussing the build, I need to introduce two terms. The terms are initiative and neutral. So when you first start a combat with any number of rats coming at you, that's neutral. You haven't hit the first strike yet and pushed them into stun lock, and they haven't hit you to put you on the run, etc. Initiative means that you're the one who's dictating the flow. You're pushing, you're getting your hits in, blah blah blah. Losing initiative means that you're doing ineffectual things like panic dodging and pushing just to try to stay at neutral. What makes this build so powerful is you don't have to expend a lot of pushes, a lot of dodges, or a lot of heat to maintain initiative at most levels of combat. This means you have a lot of burst left over if things get hairy, which comes into play at the final event. So as with any event, finish stocking up, kill the ambient stuff as soon as possible, and start. We're going to hold at that grate across from the waterfall where we drop down. The reason for it is you can see the 3 special spawn locations, up to our right by the final door, up at the waterfall where we drop down, or above us. If we need to kite, we kite to the high ground over to the left of the waterfall. The reason for that is it gives you a little bit of height advantage and keeps you in line of sight to special spawn locations. After the event are 2 more large waves, after which everything gets really sparse, and then we'll make our escape. For the rest of the video, I'll try to explain my combat decisions. So the start of the wave is just masked slave rats. We're obviously just slaying and keeping them at manageable numbers until the shit hits the fan. Which you just did. That's 2 Storm Vermin plus 20 easily Clan Rats. We do not have the control tools to stand and deliver. We need to make a plan and we need to execute. The plan is going to be to control and flank the flankers to slim down the Horde. At the same time, we're going to kite left to maintain spacing with the Storm Vermin. So far so good. The clan numbers have been thinned, but we need to finish them off. Again, we're thinning them because the clan rats are the real damage source, and once the SV are isolated, they're easy enough to kill. Anyways, there's still too many of them, and I need to get rid of those Storm Vermin quickly before the next Horde hits, so I'm going to decide to drop back and bomb so I have the space to do that. So let's talk threat prioritization. Assassin 1, Packmaster 2, everything else less. With Assassin, how you deal with it is a little bit setup dependent. In this case, we don't have a great anti-special weapon, so we're going to wait for the Assassin to leap, time our dodge, then melee it down, If you need help on how to dodge assassins, packmasters, etc., I'll link to the anti-special video at the very end. It's in the Today I Learned series. With that hit, we've reached critical health. Watch how to drink a draft safely during combat. So as I said, we now have about 2 large hordes to get through with special spawns, and then we're free and clear of the map. Why not push? If you look ahead, the tunnel is tight. The tighter it is, the less room rats have to flank. If they can't flank, they're going to dense up. Our setup sucks against density. Therefore, staying in this open area is much safer, even if there's a small chance we could have pushed all the way through. I'm now going to rewind to the start of the event. I recommend that you pause at various places to ask yourself what you would have done, what I did wrong, or why I did what I did. Remember that you can use Shift plus comma to put in slow motion, or Shift plus period to go fast forward at any time. Alright, we've survived. At this point, your heart rate's probably up, your resources are probably low. The best thing to do is to try to take it easy and play defensively. Kill things as they come, do extra pushes, blah blah blah, to make sure you're padding your win. Storm vermin that spawn up there typically don't hop down, so if you don't pull them, they won't come. That's true in a lot of maps unless you shoot a gun. A few mechanical tricks. The first is quick switch into shotgun into quick switch, which you'll see me use all the time. 2 movement mechanics. First, if you quick switch at the end of your melee combo, it'll get you out of the melee combo slow faster. Like right there, for example, would be a good time to do it. Lastly, pushing, attacking, blocking, venting, all of these things have move speed slow attached to them. Dodge doesn't care about any of those states, so if you use it while you're doing those things, you maintain full speed. Another mechanical trick, if you ever need to get out of here in a hurry, and there's rats in the way, if you jump on the chest, you can jump over the rat's head and get up to it quickly. For the escape, this is pure chain dodge into jump reset. If you need any help on movement mechanics, I'll link the Today I Learned video on movement mechanics at the end as well. Alright guys, this has been a lot of work, but I hope you enjoyed something and picked something up. I have a lot more planned, so I really look forward to your feedback and interaction. It helps me figure out what's working and what's not, and it keeps it fun for me. So thanks for watching. Have a good one.